There were a lot of other cockpit changes in the wake of John's crash, the way the belts mount, the angle at which they pull the driver in, a complete set of head restraints both forward and back and sideways, titanium surrounds for the cockpit. John actually had a frame rail come into the cockpit. If his head wasn't so hard, it probably would have hurt him. You've got a carbon tub here that surrounds the driver. The reverser, the shifter, has been moved out from between the driver's legs over here to the side. But the big change, the heart of the beast, a new chassis. So with all that as background, tell me the difference between a four-rail car and a six-rail car. You crashed a four-rail car. This is a six-rail car. What does that mean and why?
With the Ford engineers and their studies, that we looked at this car that hadn't evolved in 25 or more years. And we felt the driver needed more protection. We had to change the design based on engineering studies at Ford in Detroit. And they came up with what we call the six-rail chassis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It made it 6 to 7 times stronger. There's 2 years of study in this car, and the study continues today at Ford. This is our car built in the Eric Medlin project.
You built this chassis in-house.
We built this chassis in-house. But let's give credit to Merck McKinney that are building the cars that we've run up to this part of the season. He built the prototypes, and they worked great.
John, I hate to break this to you, but with all that engineering and all that work, your car's crooked. It's got a big bow in the middle.
I saw that. You know, Dave, one of the statements that I made earlier was that the chassis never really changed in 25 years. There was a lot of changes, but to what significance? One was the slip tube chassis. That allowed the car to bow in the middle to transfer the weight to the tires. You saw dragsters that blew in half. Broke in half. And whenever we got a slip tube, after a while, we found that we just welded them up because it didn't do what it needed to do, but other guys were winning races. But as you know, we won 15 championships. So the engineers at Ford, they have built into this chassis the bow automatically instead of a tube that slips.
So you have essentially a slip tube chassis without the slip tubes. You get the benefit without that.
It won't slip, but yet it still allows to transfer that weight without the car moving and doing whatever. We just tried to simplify it. But remember, Dave, I told you, I'm not that smart to explain all of this.
It's his secret.
It's a piece of work. That covers the recent history of John Force Racing and all the trauma and change that history has entailed. Later, we're going to talk to John about the future. Long term, does he plan to drive these things forever? And short term, as in tomorrow's race, the finals of the U.S. Nationals.